What's good, YouTube, man? I'm back again with another video, man. As y'all can see, bro, I got another gem for y'all. About to break to this How to Be Strangers Chapter 2. I went and watched the first one in the movies. It was alright. It wasn't all that, you know what I'm saying? But it's not worth to go and watch it in the movies, in my opinion. And this was like middle of the year. So chapter 2 just dropped, and they be dropping the things on YouTube so you can watch it, basically a breakdown of the movie for free. So everybody react to it, see what it's here for, man. But with that being said, man, let's get into the video, see what they talking about.
One of those movies that's always given me mixed feelings. Like, sure, getting jumped by a bunch of randoms would be scary, but when you really think about it, that's just a regular dude. And you know what that means? He's gonna catch these hands. Well, Maya's already dealt with these creeps before, but now they're spinning back to finish the job. So if you were trapped in a small town where literally anyone could be a killer, what would you do? Well, don't worry, because I'm here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the randos in The Strangers Chapter 2. We open with our girl Maya walking up to the hospital. Y'all remember Maya, right? The girl who was on a road trip with her fiance Ryan when they hit some car troubles and got jumped by the strangers. Well, Ryan did not pull through. So that leaves Maya as the only survivor. But while she's explaining her story to the cops, the sheriff keeps acting hella shady, and it seems like he has something to hide. So the sheriff heads to the diner and word starts spreading around that Maya survived. But somewhere in the crowd, the strangers are listening, and they decide that it's time to run it back. Later that night, Maya wakes up from a terrifying nightmare to a message from her sister who says that they're sending a private ambulance to pick her up. But that's when she gets a call from an unknown number, and when she answers, she's horrified to hear one of the strangers on the other side. Just then, she hears a fight break out in the hallway, and that's when it hits her. The strangers are back. So Maya takes off her monitors and gets ready to dip. Alright, you guys, now this one might be a little tricky, but you already know that I have a plan to survive. These goobers keep popping up, but like I said in the intro, in a 1v1, these dudes are like a mid-level threat at best, because underneath the mask, they're just regular people like you or me. They can't control reality like Pennywise or get inside my dreams like Freddy. They don't even have super strength or durability. They're just a couple of randoms with some pretty basic weapons and slightly better map knowledge. So yeah, in a 1v1, I'd say it's a fair fight, but that's where we hit our first problem, because the strangers like to roll deep. So when they pull up, it's not just one of them. You've got Scarecrow, Pinup, and Dollface all trying to run your fade at the same time, and that's going to be their biggest advantage. Also, we got to remember that our girl Maya is still recovering from getting cheffed up by Scarecrow back at the cabin, so since it's a 3v1, she's already low on HP, so she's going to want to avoid a fight at all costs. So if it's me in this situation, then my main focus is going to be on stealth. And the first thing I'm gonna do is unplug that damn heart rate monitor. Like, girl. They're out here looking for you. And that thing's over here beeping like crazy, so I'm gonna just use 1% of my brain real quick and unplug it, and then I won't be telling them exactly where I am. Next up, I'm putting my phone on silent and turning the brightness all the way down so there's no chance of a random call blowing up my spot. Now, I don't know why Maya's acting like she can't just call for help, but if I have service, then I'm gonna just call 12. I mean, even if the sheriff's in on it, the deputy obviously is not, so it's still worth a try. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just pull a Karen and call up the guy's manager by calling the state police instead. Then I can just push something heavy in front of the door and kick back in bed until the SWAT team shows up. Easy. Otherwise, I'll just pick up some kind of weapon from here in the room and then start sneaking out of here as quietly as I can. And on the way, I'm gonna be looking for any hospital workers who I can use as meat shields. Or if they're already dead, I'll check their bodies for any key cards or the keys to their car, you know, any useful stuff like that. And if I see one of the strangers, I'll just stay quiet until they pass by or throw something down the hall to lure them in another direction. Then all I gotta do is get to the parking lot or where they keep the ambulances, hop in a whip, and take off before they find me. And that should make getting out of here a piece of cake. So Maya nervously peeks into the hallway to make sure that the coast is clear, and then starts quietly sneaking around, looking for the exit. There's not a single person anywhere in sight, but when she runs for the door, the strangers already have jammed it shut, and suddenly the whole place goes dark except for a blinking red light. It looks like they've got her trapped, and she has no cell service to call for help, so her only choice is to start looking for another way out. But that's when she starts hearing random noises in the distance, and it feels like her ops could be hiding anywhere. She makes it to another exit, but this one is jammed as well, and then out of nowhere, the guy with the scarecrow mask pops up right in the next room. So Maya just ducks into a room just down the hallway. But that's when she gets an idea, and she starts closing all the curtains so that the scarecrow won't know where she's hiding. Well, dude obviously hears the noise and starts checking them all one at a time, but while he's out here moving slower than my grandma, Maya waits for her chance to skirt and takes off running for her life. This time she makes it to one of those mini elevators and hops in there Outlast style just as the pinup girl starts smashing on the cage. But it locks her in and starts lowering down until it comes to a stop in the spookiest place of all, the basement. Oh yeah, and there's no time to waste, so Maya slowly gets out and starts deciding where to go, and when she finally makes up her mind, she just straight up forgets her phone on the damn elevator. Like, girl, are we serious right now? But she keeps following the exit signs until she reaches a long hallway, except that's when she hears footsteps coming from the other side. And she genuinely just stands there until Scarecrow pulls up and starts sprinting towards her at full speed. So her only choice is to duck into another room and take cover behind some barrels. But the dude knows that there is nowhere else for her to go, so he starts looking around while Maya tries to stay quiet. Well, the plan almost works until homegirl bumps a wrench with her knee, and old boy just stands there for a second like, I wonder where that came from. Until suddenly, bam! He starts knocking all the barrels down right on top of her. But Maya grabs the hose and sprays him with a bunch of liquid nitrogen, and that stuns him long enough for her to bounce. Alright, you guys, I had to jump in here real quick because this is just straight up embarrassing. Like, first of all, how are you gonna just forget your damn phone at a time like this? I mean, it would be one thing if it got lost or broken somehow, but just forgetting it honestly might be the dumbest thing that I've ever seen anybody do. Like, I double check for my keys, wallet, and phone whenever I'm just out doing basic activities. And I know I'm not the only one, so you'd literally have to have the IQ of a goldfish to make this mistake. And honestly, it's starting to seem that way. Now, like I said before, one of the first things any smart person would do here is grab a damn weapon. But meanwhile, Maya's out here walking around empty-handed like she's about to square up. So before I went anywhere, I'm gonna pick up some scissors or a vase or something so I'm not gonna get caught lacking. And as long as they didn't know where I was, I'd be trying to keep it that way. So tell me why, the minute this girl saw Scarecrow, she just started making as much noise as humanly possible to get his attention. Like, honestly, what was the point of that? Just hide and run away? There was literally no need. Nah, the only reason that would have made sense is if she was planning on jumping dude when he took the bait. Which brings me to my next point. Because like I said before, the biggest advantage the strangers have is their numbers. So if you can take one down, that means fighting the other two is going to be much easier. Now, Scarecrow might seem pretty intimidating at first, but like, actually look at this dude. He's wearing boots and skinny jeans. The scariest thing about him is his fashion sense. And when you get past the axe and creepy mask, he's just a regular civilian. So if I had the chance to catch him while his back was turned, then I'ma just pop out and smoke him. Easy work. Now, I will give her some credit. Maya actually clutched up with the spray hose, but she completely missed another opportunity to take this guy down. I mean, she had him on the ropes, so I'd just knock him over, take his axe, and finish him off. Then I've got a weapon, and dealing with the other two should be kinda easy. But if you think this was bad, just wait until you see what this idiot's about to do next. So Maya keeps going until she hits a corner where her only choice is to head into the morgue, but it's literally a dead end. And the only place to hide is inside one of the freezers with the dead bodies. So with Scarecrow closing in, she picks one out and climbs inside. And you'll never guess who it is. Her dead fiance Ryan. Aww, how romantic. But then Scarecrow walks in and starts casually searching around, and he starts opening the freezers one at a time as Maya just sits there knowing that she's cooked. Until finally he gets to the one where she's hiding and is about to pull it open, but just then this random dude comes strolling in at the worst time imaginable. And Scarecrow just straight up murks him without a moment's hesitation, making one down with 7 more to go. But now he's got to go hide the body, and this gives Maya her chance to escape. She's finally able to get outside and takes off running down the street, but this place is pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and Scarecrow knows that she ain't getting very far. Somewhere down the road, she finds a pickup truck in front of some old beat-up farmhouse and hops straight inside. But when she can't find the keys, she has to go looking for another whip. She dips across the horse pen and sneaks around behind the house, where she ends up finding a whole box full of keys. But as she's digging through them, a voice yells out, "Freeze!" And she turns around to see some old farmer lady posted up with a revolver. Terrified, Maya starts begging her to call the police, but strangely enough, the woman says that they are not gonna help. Only before she can explain why, old girl suddenly catches a freaking arrow straight to the chest. It's Pinup rolling up on them with a crossbow, and that makes
Tough.
2 down with 6 more to go. Maya dives for the tool, but she completely wastes her only shot, and now Scarecrow's coming at her from the other side, so she drops the revolver and takes off running to find somewhere to hide. She ends up making it over to the stables, but while she's thinking of what to do next, she hears footsteps coming from outside, and it's Pinup again, and this time she's got a giant knife. But Maya waits until just the right moment before suddenly jumping out with a pitchfork and putting it straight through her leg. This gives her another chance to run, but now Dollface is closing in and she hits another dead end where her only option is to hide in the restroom. But then Scarecrow pulls up and starts chopping the door down on some Here's Johnny type shit. And before she can get the window open, he reaches through the hole and starts pulling Maya back by her hair. But she pulls herself free and climbs through the window just in time. And now dude is low-key getting pissed that she keeps getting away. Alright guys, I'm not gonna lie, I can see why bro's getting mad. Like, getting outplayed by a bot in your own lobby, that's crazy. But honestly, Maya shouldn't have even made it past the hospital because hiding with the dead bodies was legit the most buns strategy that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was
I'm
trash,
sorry,
ain't gonna
but
cap.
what kind of brain-dead is that? I know, let me climb inside a tiny metal box with no room to run or defend myself. That should work. Like, dude's obviously gonna figure it out and just start searching them all one at a time. And then what am I supposed to do when he finds me? I'm cooked at it. So nah, the moment I hit that room, I would have simply locked the door behind me or pushed something in front of it and then picked up a random object off one of those carts, used it to smash the glass on one of the locked doors, and just kept it pushing. Or I'd hide around the corner with some kind of weapon and then just rock the dude as soon as he turned his back and dip out the way that I came in. Nice and simple. Maya's just lucky that some random meat shield walked in at the worst possible time. But hey, if it works, I guess. So yeah, getting to the farm was a miracle all by itself. But wasting the blick was actually unforgivable. I mean, how much luckier can you get than having some random NPC spawn in with a revolver? But then you just waste the only shot and throw it on the ground like, what? But nah, if that was me, I'm pretty much set right there because unlike Maya with her doo-doo aim, I'm gonna save that shot for a better moment. Then I'm dipping inside the house, pulling something in front of the door, and instead of running away, I can just post up. Now that I've got the strap, they're gonna be even scared to come near me, which gives me
You
plenty
only
of
got
time to
one
hop on the
shot.
landline and call for help. And search around for some extra ammo and supplies, like Arc Raiders, yeah. Then I can just sit back and wait for somebody to get there or grab the keys to a truck and hit the road. And if any of these clowns show up, I'll just blast them with the heater and call it a day, no problem. So yeah, once I got the tool, it's pretty much a wrap. So Maya keeps going until she notices a pair of headlights coming up the road, and by thinking this could be her chance to escape, she jumps into the street just as they're passing by. It's Nurse Danica from back at the hospital and her friend Chris, and Maya jumps straight in without thinking twice. But the more she thinks about it, the more nervous she starts to get. And these two are just sitting there taking their sweet old time until suddenly Danica locks the doors. Maya starts absolutely freaking out and screaming at the girls to let her go, but they just keep saying that she needs to relax, guy. And after realizing that she can't get out, she agrees to go back with them to Danica's house, but she's officially too scared to trust anyone in this town. As they're driving along, she notices a pair of work boots on the ground and decides to put them on in case she has to escape. She also grabs the first aid kit from behind the seat, which is smart because she's about to need it. Meanwhile, the other girls turn up the radio and start quietly talking so that Maya cannot hear. But just when it seems like things couldn't get any sketchier, two random dudes show up in the middle of the road, and Danica pulls over to let them in. So now Maya's sandwiched in the back between these two dangerous-looking fellas who Danica introduces as her roommates Gregory and Wayne. Apparently they lost their keys at the bar and had to walk home, and Greg immediately starts grilling her down in the creepiest way possible. Things don't get any better when Chris whips out a giant hunting knife and starts carving up an apple. Like, come on, lady, read the room, would ya? And Maya notices a smiley face tattoo on Greg's neck that looks awfully similar to what the strangers were drawing back at the cabin. But she keeps spiraling more and more until she starts picturing the strangers' masks over everyone's faces. And that's when she finally decides to make her move. As soon as Chris puts down the knife, Maya grabs that ish, jumps out the back of the truck, and just freaking sends it straight down the hill. The others get out to chase after her, but she gets up and dips out until she eventually finds somewhere to hide. They come through searching with their flashlights a few seconds later, but they pass right by without noticing where she is. So Maya waits until they're gone before getting up and sneaking away. By now, it's almost sunrise as she gets to a stream and stops for a drink. She was already pretty busted up to start with, but now her stitches are opening up again, and she's losing a lot of blood, so you know what that means. It's time to play a little surgeon simulator IRL. So Maya breaks out the first aid kit and pours some disinfectant all over the cut. It hurts like hell, but it's nothing compared to what's coming next, because now she has to take the needle and stitch herself back together. In fact, it's so painful that she has to pick up a little stick and bite down on it just to get it done. But she finally thugs it out and manages to pull through, and now all she has to do is get the f up out of this town. Now, Maya probably feels like she did something here, but honestly, I'm gonna have to disagree. I mean, I can understand why she's a little paranoid, especially with the way that Greg was looking at her like, ew, brother, ew. So it might have seemed like hitting the eject button was her only choice, but personally, I would have stayed with the group. And I know, that does sound pretty crazy, but hear me out. Now, even though the strangers don't have any special abilities, they do have one thing that makes them different. Since Maya's never seen their faces, she has no idea what they really look like, which means they could be anybody in this town, right? But hold up, because that's not actually true. Don't forget, Pinup just took a pitchfork to the leg, so it obviously can't be one of these two. And sure, maybe they're still in on it, or it's some Ghostface type scenario with multiple people behind the same mask, but I've got an easy way to figure it out. As soon as I got in the truck, I just asked to borrow one of their phones so I could call the fam. Then, from their reaction, I'd know if they're cool or if I should hit the dash. This still leaves Greg and this other dude to worry
That's
about,
smart.
but even if the vibes are off, I'd still rather take my chances in the car than have to survive out here in the middle of nowhere. Like, these mountains are no joke, and she's probably gonna end up getting lost or like eaten by a mountain lion before the strangers even catch up. I'd rather stay in the truck and go back to the house, but trust me, I'm no dummy, because as soon as we get to Danica's crib, I'll give it about 5 seconds and then grab the keys, hop in the truck, and dip out of town before they even know what happened. And then I'll just cruise straight up to Portland and link up with the fam. But now we've got a problem, because she's stuck out here with no phone and pretty much no idea where she's going. But I've got a plan for this one too. Now, since I still know where the road is, I'll just follow it while staying hidden in the woods, head back to the hospital, grab my phone, call up the fam, and find out where the hell they're at, and then post up at the diner until they get here. And since the strangers probably won't risk attacking me in broad daylight at their favorite spot, I should be good. Well, later that day, Maya gets to a clearing where there's an old abandoned car, and thinking that this looks like a good place to rest, she decides to post up and start a fire. But that was her biggest mistake. Meanwhile, the strangers are still out there searching the woods in their full costumes, like they straight up refuse to break character even when there's literally nobody around. When they find a bloody bandage on the side of the creek, and that's when Scarecrow decides that it's time to unleash the beast. So he pulls up to some random bunker in the middle of the forest and takes the chain off the door, and as he walks inside, we hear a giant pig grunting in the darkness. Well, Maya's just out there having herself a little
Watching a video.
campfire when she hears something rustling through the leaves, and the footsteps keep getting louder and louder as she
Nobody
looks around to
saying
see
nothing,
where they're
man.
coming from. Until just as Piglet's
Nobody
about to
saying
pull
nothing.
up, she circles around a huge rock and jumps into the abandoned car.
I didn't
The
say
pig
nothing,
crashes
man.
against the
Watch
door
out.
until
You sent the message to Papa. I mean to Jigga. Jigga showed it to Mary.
All right, when I'm done, I'm gonna come tell you.
No, tell me now.
When I'm done, I'm gonna come tell. I'm gonna come show you the message.
No, show me now.
I can't, man. I'm doing my thing.
the window breaks. That's when everything goes quiet, and Maya listens as it starts circling around outside the car. Suddenly, it hits the door right next to her, but then it stops again, and Maya peeps the hunting knife on a log next to the fire. But as she's already getting ready to go for it, the pig starts crashing against the back seat until just as she gets out, it smashes through the trunk and starts chasing after her. She really doesn't make it that far before Piglet catches up and starts absolutely wrecking her with his tusks. I mean, she's just over here getting tossed around like a chew toy with literally no way to fight back, until finally she decides to try playing dead instead.
pig,
All she can
bro?
do is stay still
the
as
heck?
Porky gets down and sniffs right next to her face. Then it just stands right on top of her while she lays there getting crushed. But the plan works, and it eventually decides to move on. So with Pumbaa distracted, Maya goes back to crawling for the hunting knife, but the second she moves, it just comes charging back over and starts rocking her even worse than before. The pig flips her over and chomps down on her leg, but Maya grabs a flaming branch and starts fending it off caveman style. So while it's shaking off the flames, she grabs the knife and holds it straight up just as Piglet comes charging towards her at full speed. And it's a critical hit, but the pig still isn't done, and for a second the thing almost gets back up. But Maya lets her instincts take over and just keeps poking him until he's finally dead. And that makes one pig down with no more to go.
A pig.
All right, you guys, now I'm not gonna lie, this demon piggy was way scarier than the actual strangers. Like some goober in a mask, I can handle that. But a wild boar, what the hell am I supposed to do against that? I mean, I looked it up, you guys, and yeah, this ain't exactly Babe we're talking about here. Apparently, these things can weigh in over 500 pounds easy. And their skin is so thick that they can tank small bullets? That's not even fair. So basically, I'm gonna need a freaking bazooka to take one down. And they can still run at like 30 miles per hour too, so you ain't outrunning them either. And once they catch up, they're just gonna absolutely work you with their giant tusks. So yeah, in a 1v1, I'm pretty much cooked. Extra crispy. Or at least, that's what I thought. But then I remembered this thing is a wild animal, so even though it could wreck me in a fair fight, I have a special ability up my sleeve. Strategy. Yeah. So here's what I would do. Now right off that bat, old head Maya struck again when she decided to light a fire. But this was incredibly dumb for two reasons. One, you're standing still, and two, they're gonna notice that joint from miles away. So yeah, I would just keep it pushing and not do anything to draw attention to myself until I knew I was safe. And then I wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. But alright, let's say I was dumb enough to actually start a fire. Well, even then, I'm still not gonna let the knife out of my sight. Like, that's my only weapon to defend myself if these freaks show up. So best believe I'm gonna be holding onto that thing at all times. Gotta keep my head on a swivel, so when I hear this thing coming my way, I'ma already be prepared. Now Maya keeps doing this thing where she hears someone coming and then waits like 3 to 5 business days before she starts running. But me, I won't have that problem. So the moment I sense Porky coming, I'll grab the knife and a flaming branch and then scoot over to these rocks where I can climb up high and use the tight spaces to trap it. Then fighting it off should be a lot more manageable, and hopefully I can survive the battle without getting stomped out. After slaying the pig, Maya picks herself up and gets back on the trail. But Pinup comes across the scene a few minutes later, and she knows that the girl could not have gone very far. Meanwhile, back in town, the deputy starts pressing the sheriff about the case, but there's still no sign of Maya, and he wants to call in some help from the feds. But the sheriff says that'll open up a whole investigation into everything they've ever done. And since the deputy there has a few dirty secrets of his own, he decides to just let it go. Now Maya's still out there hobbling around on her messed up leg when she comes to an all too familiar cabin. That's right, you guys, it's the cabin where her and Ryan got rolled by the strangers. And now it looks like we're back to the scene of the crime. As traumatizing as it is to be back, the place might have some supplies. So Maya heads inside. And yeah, her fiance's blood is still all over the freaking floor, and the sight of it gives her flashbacks to when she watched him get murked. But now the place is just quiet, and she heads into the kitchen to get some water. So after getting a drink and chowing down on some crackers, she grabs a big-ass knife and goes to look for some fresh clothes. Their bags are still in the restroom, and she takes a big ol' sniff of Ryan's hoodie before putting it on. But just when she's about to hit the road, she hears another person walk into the house. Maya waits for them to get close and then jumps out swinging the knife, but she almost shanks this random dude who she's never even seen before. The guy's just as surprised as she is, but he explains that he's with Internal Affairs, and he was sent out there to investigate the sheriff's department. And now that she trusts him, she follows the dude back out to his truck. But just when it looks like she's finally saved, old boy catches an arrow straight through the freaking dome, making 3 down with 5 more to go. Maya's all like, oh and she looks up and sees the strangers closing in. So she jumps into the driver's seat and starts trying to dip out of there, but Pinup fires another arrow straight into the engine as she's driving away. And she doesn't even get that far before the truck completely breaks down. Her only choice is to pull up to some fancy cabin just down the road, but as she runs up to the door screaming for help, who else answers it but that dude Wayne from the night before? And Maya suddenly passes out before she can get away. Well, great rescue mission, detective. I mean, I guess they're just hiring anybody these days, huh? You know it's bad when you're only in town for 5 minutes and you get sniped with a frickin' crossbow. And as usual, our girl Maya basically just let it happen. So yeah, you already know what I'm about to say, cause both of these idiots done up. I mean, if these two weren't such morons, this whole movie could have been over right here. Like, right here, this very second. As soon as Maya realized this guy was a detective, all she had to do was say, hey, just so you know, there's 3 psychos in masks trying to smoke me right now. And he'd say, thanks for the heads up. Then he would pull out the strap, and then when the freak showed up, bam, he could just blast him. But nah, let's just not even say anything about the squad of maniacs that could pull up at any second, because why would Buddy need to know anything about that, right? Like, what? But to be completely fair, this dude probably should have been a bit more aware of his surroundings. They're sending you into this town where 3 killers are running around just murking people in broad daylight, so your awareness has to be on 1,000, my man. You can't just get snuck up on the minute you show up. And you know what the craziest part is? Even after all of that, she just ended up right back at Danica's house. So basically, we could have skipped all the jumping out of cars and fighting wild boars and stuff and just pulled up here last night. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that these two done f***ed up majorly. When Maya wakes up, she is surprised to find herself in some random person's bedroom. Now, she's obviously pretty freaked out at first, and as she's looking around for some clothes, she notices the case for another giant knife in one of the drawers. But when she looks in the mirror, she realizes that whoever took her cleaned and stitched up all her wounds. So maybe they're nice after all, but she's not about to let her guard down so easily. She creeps around the house until she bumps into Gregory, and oh no, not this dude again. And he's over here drinking straight out of the bottle. So yeah, you already know my boy is ready to act up. Well, he notices Maya staring at his tattoo again and explains that a lot of people in town have the same one. Apparently they got it on some kind of church trip, like, yeah, right, buddy. And yeah, he starts getting way too damn creepy right off the bat. So Maya literally hits him with a "that's cool" as he's over here posted 2 inches from her face. And when she tries to get past him, he starts stepping in front of her and won't let her go. Luckily, Danica and the others show up before things go too far, and Buddy storms off to go blast some edgy rock music in his room. Like, all right, bro, if you're a cornball, just say that. They explain that he's just a creeper and doesn't usually mean any harm. Like, apparently he's some kind of local Nepo baby or something. You know the type. But nah, Maya still doesn't trust them. But that's when Danica whips out Maya's phone and gives it back to her, saying that she found it back at the hospital. And Maya realizes that she might actually be on her side. Meanwhile, the ambulance that's supposed to be picking her up stops for gas at the only place in town. It looks like you gotta pay inside, so an EMT goes walking around looking for the owner, but he's caught by surprise when the dude pops out from under a truck. He starts asking for directions towards the cabin, but when the guy finds out where he's going, he starts acting hella sus and refusing to answer the question. This guy is obviously not about to help, and it seems like he's low-key thinking about smacking dude up with the tire iron. So the EMT just lets it go and decides to get out of there before things get sketchy.
Smart guy.
All right. Yeah. If this dude knew what was good for him, he would just get in the van and take his ass back home. Because, I'm sorry, but whatever he's getting paid, it's definitely not enough to be dealing with all this. Well, it seems like Maya's got it pretty easy now, right? Like, all she has to do is wait for the ambulance to roll up and dip. But that's where you'd be wrong, because the strangers know that she's about to get out of town. So if they're gonna come back, it's gonna be soon, and we need a plan in case they do. So first of all, this dude, Greg, yeah, we can't trust him. I mean, between the creepy behavior, the drinking, and the tattoo, we gotta keep an eye on bro for real. But dealing with him's actually easy because now we know Danica's obviously normal, or else she wouldn't have patched Maya up. So I would just go to her and say, hey Danica, your boy Greg is creeping me out, and ask her to make sure he stays away from me. Then I'll just stick close to Danica until the ambulance shows up, and that should be a problem solved. But we also gotta make sure we have some kind of backup plan in case things go south. So first things first, I'm grabbing some kind of weapon just in case. I'll wait for the right moment to swipe somebody's car keys, and the worst case scenario, I'll just hop in the whip and take off before anything happens. Back at the crib, Maya finally gets a chance to text her sister, who says the EMT should only be about 20 minutes away. It looks like she's finally gonna get out of this town, but that's when her old buddy Greg stops in to pay her for a visit. He comes busting in just casually holding up a huge knife and puts it back in the case that Maya found a bit earlier. But he just posts up and stares at her for a minute before deciding that now is a good time to ask what it felt like getting stabbed. Like, brother, chill. But Maya? She's done letting this dude freak freak her out, so she just grills him right back and tells him how the only thing she could think about was smoking the creep who did it. Now, Greg says Maya was lucky to survive, and out of all the times this has happened before, she's the only one who got away. She asks him how many people they've done this to, but it's so many that Greg can't even remember. And honestly, nobody even cares enough to keep count. They're just doing it for the love of the game. She still can't tell if this dude's just drunk or if he's actually one of them. But luckily, Danica starts looking for him, and the moment he leaves the room, Maya locks herself inside and pushes the dresser in front of the door. The EMT is still on the way, but she has to hold out until he gets there, so she picks up some scissors off the floor just in case. That's when she hears the others arguing outside, and although Danica tries to stop him, Greg gets in his car and takes off down the road. But now Maya's starting to get a little nervous, so she pulls out her phone and goes to text her sister, but the messages are not going through. And just then she hears a loud crash from somewhere inside the house. Horrified, Maya holds her breath as somebody starts pulling on the doorknob until all of a sudden Pinup shoves it open and starts trying to break through. So Maya rushes over there and starts pushing it closed. Well, just when it looks like she managed to hold her off, Dollface shows up right behind her and starts singing Rockabye Baby in her creepy ass little voice. But the freak doesn't realize that Maya is packing those scissors, and she whips around and shanks her right in the shoulder. This gives Maya a chance to run for the restroom just as Dollface starts trying to break in. And she can see the ambulance posted up right outside, but there's bars over the window, making it impossible to climb out. And there's still no cell phone service, so she can't call for help, which means her only choice is to go back out there and find another way out. Alright, now this is obviously a trap, so Maya needs to be thinking one step ahead. So the strangers are obviously expecting her to sneak back through the house, but that's where I'll surprise them, because instead, I'll just climb out the window, get on the roof, and find somewhere to climb down. Then I'll just sneak to the ambulance and dip. Easy. But let's say I have to go through the house. Well, that's gonna be a bit tricky. First, I need a weapon, so I'll probably take the lid to the toilet tank and then keep my eye out for a better one as I'm sneaking out. If a stranger attacks, then I'll just dodge their strike and whack them in the head. And if things get sketchy, I'll pop my ultimate and pull off their mask. They'll probably start freaking out trying to put it back on, then I'll just smoke them and take their weapon and I'm in business. But wait! Because this is where the plan gets good. Because the strangers are expecting me to go for the ambulance, right? But instead, I'll look for the keys to Danica's car, then go to her whip and peel out of there before they even catch on. And just like that, I'll be home free, easy money. This time, Maya creeps through the other room and gets out to the hallway. But when she gets to the living room, she's horrified to see that Danica and Chris are both tied to some chairs with their throats cut. There's still no sign of the strangers, so Maya nervously heads for the front door. But she doesn't realize that Dollface is already out there waiting. She can see the ambulance right there on the edge of the driveway, but she trips right over Wayne's body as she starts running towards it, so I guess they weren't in on it after all. Terrified, she makes a break for the whip, but when she gets inside, Pinup is already behind the wheel, and it looks like the EMT is already toast. So that makes 7 down with just 1 more to go. The two of them start scrapping it out as Pinup lunges at Maya with a knife, but she catches her arm and knocks the blade out of her hands. The creep knocks her against the front seat, but this time it's Maya who gets the upper hand. And all of a sudden, she pulls out the scissors and jams them straight into the psycho's head. It's a deadly hit, and Maya's finally locked in after catching her first body. But then out of nowhere, Scarecrow pulls up and starts smashing the window, so Maya hops in the driver's seat and starts speeding away. For once, it looks like she might actually make it, but then, surprise, Pinup gets back up and wraps the seatbelt around her neck. And Maya struggles to stay on the side of the road as she's slowly being choked out. But that's when she realizes what she has to do, and putting on her own seatbelt, she hits the gas and frickin' launches it off some junk on the side of the road, and the whole ambulance flips over and slides to a stop. Maya gets out first, crawling through the shattered window, and as she stumbles to the other side, she notices Pinup lying there smoked on the ground. This time, Buddy is not getting up, and now it's time to find out who is behind the mask. But as Maya slowly leans over to take it off,
Bro, she be reaching so slow, like, God, like, hurry up and grab that.
There's a truck speeding down the road and has to dip out of there before she gets caught. It's the 2 other strangers, and boy are they surprised to find their homegirl splattered on the concrete. Scarecrow walks over all heartbroken and shit and takes off her mask, revealing that it was actually Shelly from back at the diner. But he still never even says a word as he sits there dramatically holding her body. Like, damn, bruh. That's some real commitment to the bit. As it turns out, these two actually go way back. Like, this whole time, Pinup's been having flashbacks to when she was a little girl, and she bonded with little baby Scarecrow over their shared love for bullying other kids. But one day, another girl named Tamara pulled up and kissed her man right in front of her, and Shelly was not about to let that shit slide. So she, rocked the girl pretty good, if you catch my drift, and they even painted a little smiley face on the sidewalk. So yeah, that's where the whole Tamara thing comes from. Weird, right? But back in the present, Maya just watches from the shadows as Scarecrow sits there looking all sad and shit before disappearing back into the woods. So in the end, that makes 7 victims and 1 stranger down, with Maya still trapped in this never-ending nightmare. But I guess we'll have to wait for Strangers Chapter 3 to see how it all turns out. The Strangers Chapter 2. Interesting movie.
Uh, it looked like it was better than the first one, but still, bro. What? How the hell they bonding over in elementary? That's crazy. Killing a kid in elementary and then bonding over that is crazy. What a teacher at, like, what the hell going on? But hey, bro, she survived again. So what y'all think gonna happen? She gonna kill both of them, or they gonna kill her? Which one y'all think? I think she gonna survive from chapter 3 too, and I think she gonna find out like who each killer is and like the town, like. But I think the sheriff gotta say something with what's going on. If not, he got a big one. I ain't gonna lie. And like all the people in the diner, I think the owners of the diners are the killers, cause they all work there. So probably the 2 waitresses and the manager or the cook probably. He might be on to something. I don't know. But man, with that being said, dog, this this is the end of the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one, bro. And shout out to y'all. Though y'all been going crazy, like with the support and all that. So I really appreciate that, man. So keep going crazy. Like the video, comment, and drop down what y'all want me to do. Like what other ones y'all want me to do with this or any other reaction video. And I'm out.